of my first phone calls, I mean, it was, I don't know, 6 months, pretty early in my practice. I get a call from a prospective client, and she says her fiance is in prison, and the transcripts say that he should have been out a year and a half ago, and they didn't let him out.
So I went to the state and I served 12 years, and I was supposed to be released. And on my release date, they said that something was wrong in my sentencing. So they were like, you still got to go to the feds and start your sentence over. And that was crazy.
I thought he was coming home, right? So I'm at the gate, I'm waiting, got all his clothes and stuff ready. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And I hear him say, oh, he's on his way out, but he never came out.
I get lots of calls. I get lots of people who are very convinced that their case is a clear-cut case. Most of the time it's not true, or even if it's true that there is some merit to it, it's not as clear-cut as they say that it is because the law is complicated. But short version is, in this case, she was right. So right when that happens, he starts filing a bunch of stuff on his own because he's like, what's going on? And almost immediately, it was like within a week or a few days, Shamiko hires a post-conviction attorney.
You know, first thing you do, you want to go get the best lawyer. So we went and got the most expensive lawyer we can find, thinking he was going to get something done. He got our money, and he wasn't responding, he wasn't talking, he was arguing with my family members. I was frustrated. I was furious. I ain't gonna tell no story. I was mad.
The problem was he, like, semi-fixed it. So everybody's acknowledged that the state court made a mistake and told him something was gonna happen that was literally legally unenforceable, but that they couldn't do anything to fix it. Then they reached out to me. So they've gotten the news from these other two attorneys that there's nothing that can be done, and then Shamiko finds me on Google and calls me. I just still knew that if you have it clearly on the transcript that you're gonna have these sentences running at the same time, and when you enter into a guilty plea, you're entering into maybe the most important contract of your entire life, right? Like, it's an agreement between you and the state that I'm waiving a bunch of rights to just agree I'll serve this amount of time, or probation, whatever it is, in this case, serve prison time, in exchange for not running the risk of going to trial and it being any worse. And so because of that, I just knew that was so fundamentally wrong and so fundamentally against how really the justice system is supposed to work that I just kind of didn't care what these other attorneys said. I just felt like there had to be a way to fix this.
After a couple years of me doing over my sentence, I was just like, maybe I just need to just ride it out and just, because it ain't not gonna be done until I'm at home and moving, I'm able to fight it and show them where they was wrong, and hopefully I can get something done. Then I was telling her, just don't do it no more, don't invest in no more lawyers.
And I seen Adam, and I clicked on it. I listened to, he had a video on there, I listened to it, and then some said, that's him, call him.
She never told me Adam was out of town or nothing, because we already debating, and I'm telling her I don't trust these lawyers, So how she found him and how she came across him, she never said nothing about it. She just was like, I found you another lawyer. He talk better, he good.
He got back with me and said he believed he can do something. And that's what made everything come to reality. That, hey, they messed up, we're gonna fight, and we're gonna get them out of there to come home.
The real tipping point for me was gonna be, how is the state gonna respond? Because when you file a post-conviction petition, the state or the government has a lot of power. It's ultimately the judge, but more or less, if the state or the government agrees with you, like, yeah, I think this sentence you're recommending makes sense, or I think this new agreement makes sense, the judge generally is gonna go along with it, unless it's just like a ridiculous idea. It was, I wanna say, like October or November of 2022. And I kept pestering them because they weren't responding to me, but finally they got it in the hands of the particular unit within Shelby County Court who handles post-conviction cases. And they got it to this person, and this person told me they hadn't had time to look at the petition, but they would. And then, I don't know, a month or two later, they did get back to me and they said, in short, I think that we'd be willing to agree to the relief that you're proposing. That was the point that I was really excited. Like, the state has now agreed, like, we agree. We messed up, we screwed up, we wrongfully sentenced your client. But then there was this long, drawn out argument over, even though there's a mistake, can we actually fix it? If you serve your sentence and then you like wipe that off the books and then re-entered a shorter sentence, all of that extra time you served in prison wouldn't just like vanish. It's called jail credit. And so I thought it'd be pretty straightforward that it would then go to the federal court. What ended up happening is I had to have several conversations with a representative from the Bureau of Prisons, which is the entity that like runs the federal prison system. After several conversations, he basically just said in a very short email at one point, I mean, yeah, whatever credit he has in state is gonna be credited to him in federal. That was like probably 6 months later that we finally sort of established that if we can do this in state court, the credit should go to federal court. And so again, at that point, I told Shimeko, and I was excited. I was like, I think this should work. But now the last entity that kind of controls how this is gonna ultimately be resolved is the Tennessee Department of Corrections. And we're basically saying we need you to recalculate his time, right? Because he has all this credit for all the time he did serve. We're gonna get rid of it. We're gonna enter in a shorter sentence so that it should result in a bunch of excess time on his record. And they basically told me no. They basically just said, it's a sentence that's already been served. There's nothing we can do with it. And then they also kind of said, and we don't really know if you like send us this new plea agreement, but we can't touch the old one. And that was the end of it. Like that was the last piece of information I ever got from them was, we're not even confident that we're gonna redo his jail credit. So that's where everything stood when we finally got to the actual hearing, where we're now going to enter in this new agreement to establish this new shorter sentence for Cordario, and just hoping that the TDOC does what we would think they're supposed to do.
When they finally set the date and was telling me that I was gonna be able to get back in court, I felt great. I felt good.
We finally get a court day, and he's finally down at the jailhouse in Shelby County.
We enter in the testimony from Cordario where he basically says, yes, me serving the 13 years was material to me agreeing to this agreement, and since that was not what happened, I would not have entered this agreement. He testifies to that, is what we had to put on the record so that we could then get rid of the old plea agreement. And then he goes up and he pleads to the lesser sentence. And then we get all the paperwork that day that's like, okay, now he has this 5-year sentence, we're gonna put that on the books, and it should result in him getting out. But that was July 18th. And I also entered a transport order that day to send him back to his prison facility, not sit there at the jail at the county courthouse.
But then he's sitting there, right? So we're like, okay, what's the holdup? They vacated, why he's not released?
He sat there for about 30 days, and then he gets transferred, and I was following up with Shimeko, and then I followed up with the judge and the state counsel again, and then I followed up with the TDOC, where I was like, okay, are you gonna give him the credit so that I don't know if I said so he gets out, but I knew that's what should happen. I did finally get a response from them. Eventually they did say, yeah, I sent the credit over today. And then it was August 27th that I got an email from Shimeko, said that he was home.
See, careful, there's a cable laying across the floor here, and your lawyer is standing 10 feet from me, so I prefer you not trip on it.
Hey, man.
How you doing?
How you doing? Good. Probably not as good as you're doing, but.
Nice to you.
Yeah. Shimeko, we've never actually met in person, so thanks for coming out. Great. Well.
I think it was that Tuesday, he come calling me, where you at? I'm like, what you mean, where I'm at? In California.
I mean, I still couldn't even really believe that it had happened.
It was like life started over again, like for the first time. The wind felt different, the air was different, it was outrageously hot. It was amazing being able to hug my family and see them.
It was like a relief, because I had been carrying this burden for so long. Man, this case was like draining. Sometimes, you be like, man, like you said, you want to give up, but you can't give up. Like me, I just couldn't give up.
I can't thank them enough, because I done seen real good attorneys and people that's supposed to be the best say that they couldn't do nothing, and it was impossible. So to me, he did the impossible. To me, he heaven sent.
My faith is very central to my practice, to my approach to practicing law, to my approach to how I work with my clients. 3 things I've asked of you: do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. If I were to say there's like a biblical passage that kind of is the grounding for how I approach my legal practice, it would be that passage, is that I'm trying to do justice, I'm trying to love mercy, and walk humbly in that process.
I thank God that he brought me somebody that's understanding, willing, honest. Every step, he did not blindside me. Every step he took, we was there. We was communicating. Deep in my heart, from day one, I knew he was working.
He did things that nobody believe in. I gotta tell him I'm gracious just for fighting and keep pushing. He stayed in the fire with me. He stayed in the hot seat with me. Like, it's hard to get people to do that. It's hard to get a lawyer that believe in what he doing, and Adam believed in it, and he got to get the job done.
Words can't explain how thankful and grateful I am for him. I'm very, very thankful and grateful for him. I thank God every day for him.
I am going to care about my clients, no matter what. And I don't think anyone is defined by the worst thing they've ever done. I don't think anybody is defined by their mistakes. And that is very much a place that comes from my sense of what a Christian anthropology, what a Christian view of humanity is that people make mistakes, but it doesn't define who they are.